Roblox is facing multiple wrongful death lawsuits brought by the families of deceased minor children who were using the platform and who allege that the children committed suicide as a result of harm that was done to them while using the platform Roblox. The nature of the legal claims brought in the lawsuits is that if inadequate safety measures, which allow access from criminals and predators to the minor children because of a lack of age verification and a lack of moderation. The lawsuits also claim that because of these structural inefficiencies in the Roblox system, it provides the opportunity for these ill-meaning adults to groom these children and to create sexploitation opportunities. There are also claims based in false advertising, as Roblox has always maintained that it's a safe place for minor children to play on their platform. But the lawsuits all have allegations that these minor children were exposed to bad people despite these claims of safety. There are also claims about failures to act by the Roblox company once they became aware of these issues, these problems related to the exploitation of the minors and to the grooming that was taking place on the app, that even though they were aware, they knew or should have known about this, they failed to take the necessary steps to remedy these problems. Perhaps the most famous of the cases currently against Roblox is that of Ethan Dallas, the family of Ethan, a 15-year-old boy who was on the autism spectrum, who had, according to the lawsuit, already had social issues, was exposed to a 37-year-old alleged predator who convinced Ethan to move to an unmoderated communication app where sexploitation became an issue, and it resulted allegedly in his death by way of suicide. Very sad case. There's also been a lawsuit filed by the family of Audrey Haney, who was younger than Ethan Dallas, and that lawsuit alleges that she was exposed to violent and extremist groups who bullied her, and ultimately that resulted in her committing suicide as well. In addition to the private civil wrongful death lawsuits filed by the families we just discussed, there's also various states' attorneys general who have filed actions against the Roblox company for various violations of states and federal statutes, in addition to these private suits. In their filings, the state's attorneys generals in question have called Roblox gaming app a haven for predators and a landscape for pedophiles. Roblox has generally denied the allegations in both the private lawsuits and those lawsuits brought by the state's attorneys general. They have maintained the safety of their app, and they have also in some way responded to these allegations by doing some work to their platform to apparently make it safer. There's been two notable changes to the platform, and one of them is a facial recognition software that would preclude a full-grown man, for instance, from claiming that, in fact, he was a 12, 13, 14-year-old boy. Another notable change is that the platform now has restrictions or moderation on the ability of children under the age of 13 to communicate on the app, which is also something the state's attorneys general had identified in their lawsuits. Some of the most recent legal activity includes the Roblox company attempting to consolidate all of the actions, both the private actions by the families pursuing wrongful death and by the actions brought by the state's attorneys general from around the country, to come together into one consolidated action for litigation purposes. They've also, I believe, offered the opportunity for all the parties to engage in a binding, private, or confidential arbitration, although it's unclear to me today if anyone's agreed to that or whether the courts have compelled such an arbitration to occur. Now, wrongful death lawsuits are something that I handle fairly frequently in my practice. In the context of my practice, what we usually see is a fisherman lost at sea, or a wrongful death medical malpractice case, or a bad motor vehicle accident, a truck, a car, a bus, a motorcycle, wherein someone dies. In this particular case, what's happening is that these families are alleging that the exposure to criminals, to groomers, to pedophiles and to bad people on the app, something that these companies knew or should have known about and done something about, has resulted in the death of these individuals. Now, every state has their own laws about wrongful death, but generally what occurs is that the family of the deceased, the representatives of their estate, can bring an action to recover not just economic damages, but also from the loss of their family relationship or from their loved one. A wrongful death lawsuit does not have to result from intentional conduct. It can be the reckless conduct, it could be grossly negligent conduct, it could be just negligent conduct. But whatever the conduct is, the allegation is that that conduct resulted in the death of the deceased, of the family's loved one, of the estate in question. This is certainly a series of private lawsuits and actions by states attorneys general, which is going to affect the life of minor children just like mine, who in this day and age have access to phones and tablets and gaming systems, which provide them access to social media, gaming, and communication apps. And each of these apps and these companies have their own private rules about moderation and use and the like. So the question's going to be how the government ends up dealing with these matters. Are we going to continue to allow them each to have their own rules and just put it completely on the parents of the minor children? Or are we going to start having some specific legislation about the question of whether minor children are even allowed to use these apps? Some countries around the world are starting to address it. I'm interested to see what we do here in the States. What ends up happening with these lawsuits remains to be seen. But one thing is for certain, it's a complete tragedy when minor children are taking their own lives, and it's a complete tragedy when minor children are being exploited sexually, or are being bullied or harassed or threatened or blackmailed or extorted. And that's what the allegations of these lawsuits are. And it is my hope beyond belief that these families get justice for these minor children, because the kids are the most precious thing in the world.